That is such a beautiful song. The voice of Malkeet Singh and Jind Mahi, featured in the movie Bandy Like Beckham, of course, the one that starred Parminder and Nagra. We're talking to Parminder right now. And by the way, if you've got any questions, feel free to text 81869. We like to share our guests with everybody. We don't like to hold on to them for too long. And by the way, we've only got about 10 more minutes left before the studio is taken away from us. Parminder, thank you very much for staying with us. Let's talk a bit about your early days in cinema. You were born in Leicester and you moved to London to pursue a career in acting. Did you always want to be in cinema? Did you always want to act?
It's so funny. It sort of happened in such a bizarre way. I never thought it was something I would always be doing, and now I can't imagine doing anything else. And it totally happened by fluke is the way I saw it. My drama teacher had our youth theatre working with professional actors, and a professional actor left a stage production that we were a part of, and in I jumped, and it sort of just took over, and even then I really didn't know whether I wanted to do it. I just thought, I'll just go with this and see how it goes, and here I am.
Here you are today.
All these years later.
Absolutely.
Still seeing where it goes.
Yeah, well, it hasn't been that long, really. I mean, although it's been 10 years since Bandy Like Beckham.
Yeah.
The biggest film, I guess, for us, which you starred in, was that particular movie back in 2002. That was a few years back, as I say. How do you feel now, looking back at what happened since then? I mean, has it been a good journey for you so far?
It's been, you know what, I went pretty much straight after doing Bandit. I went into the States, didn't really know what I was going to do there. I just knew I was doing like a bunch of meetings, and then of course ER happened, and I did ER for like 6 years, of my life, and it totally changed everything, just even physically where I lived, and just on every level, and it was an amazing ride, and still very close to a lot of those people. But it's only been like 3 years since I finished that, and so really it's sort of been a busy time since Bendit, and and then of course I took time out to look after my son. So here I am.
How old is your son now?
He's 3 now.
All right,
so
okay.
yeah, I finished ER and literally had him, and that was it.
Oh wow! And is it a different kind of discipline? Working on a regular drama as opposed to working on a one-off movie? Is the intensity different?
The good thing about a series is that as you go on, the luxury of exploring your character and already knowing the background as you go on to make the choices that you do in regards to the character is great. With a movie, obviously you have to make sure that the rehearsal process is slightly different. You have a bit more time, and but funnily enough, the films that I've been involved with always seem to be quite fast-paced. It's sort of it's not hugely different to me, and I approach them. I approach every job in the same way and the same dedication.
What do you prefer working on? Movies or dramas?
My answer to that would really honestly be anything that's good, and It doesn't really matter to me whether it's a movie or a TV show. It just has to be
something you enjoy doing.
Just something I enjoy doing, or something that makes me think that I can do something with this, and that's it, really. That's sort of my criteria.
And of course, if we talk about Bandy Like Beckham, it wasn't just you that benefited from that movie.
No.
We had Archie Punjabi. I know Anupam Kher was already a well-established superstar from Bollywood, but you had the likes of Keira Knightley.
Yeah.
She's gone on to huge things in Hollywood.
Crazy, right.
Pirates of the Caribbean, Atonement, etc., etc.
Yeah, and to think, she was only 17 when she did that movie, and, she's only, 27 now, and it's just, amazing career.
Yeah. And just moving on to ER, how did ER exactly happen? Because when we talk about that, we think George Clooney, we think about the elite. How did that happen for you? I went in for a meeting with the producer, and I really didn't think this was going to happen, but I went in, and he was like, "Hi, how are you?" And I was like, "I'm fine." And we had a little conversation of what I've been up to, and then he said, "How do you fancy doing some ER?" And I sort of had this moment. I sort of paused for a second. I thought, I think I just got offered a job. And of course, and then what went through my head was, you'd be mad. Like, yes. It wasn't even really, I didn't even think about it that much. And he actually told me that I didn't need to answer him right there and then in the room. But I was like, no, I don't care what you say, really. I would love to do this job. And,
So, and there I was. 2 months later, everything just changed. But I didn't. I thought it was only going to be a few episodes, and it turned into a few
regular
years.
thing for you. Yeah. When we talk about Hollywood, we are talking about a life-changing episode for somebody's individual existence. How did that change you? What sort of impact did that have on you as an individual?
Apart from for me personally, it was just the move of being somewhere else. I mean, and being out in Los Angeles, and you can't really get away from the industry there because that's where it's based pretty much. So you're constantly surrounded by it, and that was the biggest thing. Sort of, here it was, if you're surrounded by it, it's if you go to Soho or the media district, and but there's so many other things that's going on, which is what's so lovely about coming back to London, because you're not always surrounded by it, and it can drive you a bit mad sometimes being in LA that it's always there. But that would be one of the bigger things I would say, that is the constant sort of, it's always around you. And sometimes I have to say, I start to go mad, and I'm like, I want to talk about something else.
Do you have your own therapist yet, Justine? Because everybody's got a therapist over there.
I know. I didn't. I was having this conversation not too long ago, and it's true, they do. And no, I don't. So
maybe it's early days for you. Just
what happened to friends? It's like Anyway.
Yeah. I know what you're saying. What are your plans for the future, Parminder? I mean, even though you've done the British television and big screen, you've done Hollywood. What else can you go from here? Have you thought about Bollywood? I mean, that's got to be the next natural stage for you.
Well, I'd love to do something in Bollywood, but I don't think I'm a typical Bollywood. I wouldn't be. I just wouldn't be. So, but the people that really interest me or I would love to work with is someone like Amir Khan, who I just feel like does really sort of interesting, slightly off the wall, very different than, other commercial Bollywood movies. I'd love to do something with someone like that if I was going to do something, over there. But, this is, at the moment, I'm quite happy being between London and LA, and whatever, like I said before, if something good comes up, wherever it happens to be.
What about theatre? Would you consider theatre? I mean, that's where it all started for you.
Yeah, I mean, I did 10 years of theatre, and in the Marsha Theatre Company was a huge, huge part of that. I did so much stuff with them, and, Tara Arts, and loved it. And it's been so long. I think I'd I don't know what I'd do. I think I'd get really scared. But
some people enjoy being in front of a live audience.
They do.
They love the response, the spontaneity that goes on in the studio, in the theatre.
I think I'd like to go back and do some theatre at some point. But, I just love TV and film so much. And, even if I was working in theatre, I'd always enjoy working in smaller spaces because of just the intimacy. And I feel like with TV and film, you really get that. And, that's what sort of interests me with that.
I've just had this email come through from Shazia in Glasgow. She says, I'd never been to cinema until I saw Bendy Like Beckham in 2002. Brings back great memories of my first experience of watching a movie on the big screen. Thank you. And that's from Shazia. When you hear people saying good things about the work you've done, how does that make you feel? That must please you.
It does. And humbled, I guess, is the first word that comes to my mind. I'm glad that... I'm glad that, it strikes a chord with people, and, and it allows me to just carry on doing what I do and hopefully continue. So, I'm glad. I'm glad that was one of the first experiences, feel-good thing to go and see, I feel like.
I'm sure that wasn't the last time she went.
Right.
Listen, Parminder, it's been absolutely fabulous. Really enjoyed talking to you.
You too.
Good luck with the movie. It's called 28K. More details are available on the eastendfilmfestival.com website. And, of course, tonight is the world premiere, isn't it?
It is, yes. I'm looking forward to it very much.
You go and enjoy that, and we'll talk again soon. Thank you for that.
Great. Thank you so much.
Bye. That's Parminder Nagra. For more on Parminder's new film, 28K, and the East End Film Festival, log on to eastendfilmfestival.com.